we should take a look back at the films of 2010. This is my top 10 list. I've done one every year since, I don't know, 2007, so I guess not that long, but pretty long, like what, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010. This is my fourth one, the fourth annual top 10 films list, yeah. My top 10 lists are not quite the same as other people's. Well, they're the same as some other people's, but they're not like the same as like most big mainstream critics because they want to load their stuff up with really intellectual art films, and I have Piranha on my list somewhere, so that gives you an indication right off the bat that you probably don't want to watch this if you're looking for something that has a bunch of indie pictures with a lot of like weeping and lesbians and stuff. There's three films that I haven't seen this year that I feel like if I had seen them, they might have made it onto this list. One is Winter's Bone, which came out pretty early in the year. I never saw it, it never opened wide. And if it doesn't open wide, I can't see it here in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. I could watch it illegally on the internet perhaps, but that's not the way I want to see a film for the first time. I guess I'm going to have to wait for DVD. Not sure if it's already out on DVD. I'll check it out when I get a chance. Number 2 is Roman Polanski's Ghost Rider, which you have to really enunciate and say Ghost Writer, because otherwise people will think you're talking about Ghost Rider. And if anyone thinks you want to see that piece of shit, they're going to think you're out of your fucking mind. The third movie that I wish I'd seen is Black Swan. It opened wide, I just never got a chance to see it. But hopefully I will soon, and if any of these movies impacts the list, or if any other movies come out of left field and impact this list, I will let you know in some sort of update. But for now, let's get down to my top 10 movies of the year. Number 10 on my list is Get Low, with terrific performances by Bill Murray and Robert Duvall. Now, with terrific performances by those two particular actors, it's strange that this isn't higher on my list, but that's pretty much all the film has going for it, honestly. It's very understated and sort of underwhelming in a way. I don't want to criticize it too heavily because it did make my list, but it really is only on there because of the terrific performances. If this movie had been done with lesser actors, it wouldn't even be in the running, let alone actually on the list. Number 9 on my list is Piranha 3D. Yeah, I know, pretty classy choice, right? What can I say? I just like to see girls in bikinis getting eaten by mutant fish with big teeth. Did I mention there's a lot of nudity? And it's in 3D? And did I mention that everyone gets eaten by fish and there's like blood in the water and everyone's screaming, "Oh my god, fucking..." Yeah, it's pretty funny. Number 8, Kick-Ass. Because what's better than watching a movie about superheroes kicking the shit out of bad guys? Well, watching a movie about bad guys who kick the shit out of superheroes. And watching an 11-year-old girl swear her mouth off and kill people, that's pretty fun too. Kind of morally ambiguous there, in fact, maybe even morally reprehensible. But I'm not looking for this movie to be my guru. It's just junk food for my brain, and my brain thought it tasted pretty damn good. Number 7, The Town. Ben Affleck shows once again that what he doesn't know about acting, he does know about directing. The movie does kind of suffer a little bit from the feeling that he's trying to be Scorsese, but even a second-rate Scorsese can deliver a first-rate motion picture, and that's probably an example of this. I kind of hope that Ben Affleck finds his own style in the future, but for now, ripping off Scorsese is working out pretty well for him. I really enjoyed this movie. Number 6, How to Train Your Dragon. I feel like this is the year that DreamWorks out-Pixar'd Pixar. How to Train Your Dragon was more impressive to me than Toy Story 3 because it gave us characters that most of us had never heard of before and made us care about them. And it was about as witty as you would expect a Pixar movie to be. But, you know, DreamWorks has done that before. The first 2 Shrek movies were about as witty as anything Pixar has ever made. But what DreamWorks Animation has always lacked that Pixar could do is they make movies with emotional resonance to people. And How to Train Your Dragon is the first time I've seen DreamWorks really succeed in that department. So I gotta give it to them this year. Number 5, The Edge of Darkness. I don't know why this movie didn't get the reviews that it should have. I'm kind of miffed and mystified by that. But this is a great, very traditional styled revenge thriller. And I think that part of the reason why it was sort of rejected by the mainstream is that Mel Gibson is not the most popular guy in the world. Now, this movie was released before Mel Gibson's most recent scandal, but there were, as I'm sure you're aware, a number of scandals before that tarnished his formerly sterling image. However, if you set that aside and just watch this movie on its own merits, it's pretty fucking good. I really don't know what the objection was here or why so many people gave this movie a bad review, but it's a really terrific movie, and I think it's the most underrated movie of the year. Check it out. Number 4, The Social Network. And I know this movie has already been praised into the ground, so I won't cover it too much. The thing that really strikes me about the movie more than anything is just how well written it is. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's everything else you'd expect from a movie of this caliber. It's well acted, it's well shot, but I'm amazed at how well written it is, especially the very first scene. It really gets you involved in the picture, really helps you understand the mindset of the character. Brilliant film. Number 3, True Grit, a Western directed by the Coen brothers starring Jeff Bridges. This was pretty much destined to be on the list. I don't know why it's not at number 1. It damn well should be. It's not really flawed in any way. Maybe it's because I saw it in a theater with a crappy sound system, and every time anyone spoke, it sounded like... So I saw the Donald Duck version of True Grit, and it was still the 3rd best movie I'd seen all year. Number 2, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. You know, I made a video on That Guy with the Glasses about why this movie didn't do that well at the box office, and I still don't understand why this movie didn't do that well at the box office. This is a great movie. It is great. I am using the word great to describe this movie. Now, maybe I use that word somewhat lightly here, but it's really entertaining. I know that it's not a deep and complex meditation on any subject matter whatsoever, but it is thoroughly entertaining from start to finish. You never feel bored, it never drags its feet, and even though the characters are kind of simple and underdeveloped, they work for this movie. I think it's the 2nd best movie of the year. And the number 1 movie of 2010 is Inception. Inception is not only the best movie of the year, but it's one of the best movies of the last 5, maybe even 10 years. I would say it'd probably even make my top 10 or 20 list of all time. So obviously it's gotta be number 1 for 2010. And I know my friend Benzai will say I'm just sucking Chris Nolan's dick here, but I'm happy to suck Chris Nolan's dick because he is the best living director. I said it, motherfuckers. Inception is a really smart movie. And the last time I called it a smart movie on this channel, some people disagreed. Some people said it's not a smart movie, it's just an action movie, it's just a heist thriller. They just added this quasi-cerebral element to it to kind of trick suckers like me into thinking it's a smart movie. But I have news for you, it is a smart movie, and the only reason you're trying to tear it down is the same reason you try to tear down Avatar. Because whenever there's an original concept, you feel like you have to prove that it's not as original as it claims to be. Oh, Avatar? That shit's just Pocahontas with blue people in space. Oh, Inception? That's just a heist movie, but with some crazy dream shit thrown in. Yeah, but you know what? If you're going to seek out and destroy unoriginality, then these movies should be the last on your list. Everything else Hollywood is making, remakes, sequels, based on a comic book, based on a novel, based on a video game, based on a wet dream the director had once, doesn't matter. This shit is original. You could point out how it's similar in narrative structure to other things, but it's still an original idea. And we need more of those, goddammit. What we don't need is people trying to tear these movies down and say they're not original, because they are. Nothing is 100% completely original, but at least these are conceptually original films. And that's my list. Hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. I enjoyed watching these films. And I feel like 2010 was a good year for film. Maybe not a good year for film, but a good year for movies. That's for sure.